Hey, what's up, y'all? This the Beckems again. So we are at the high school now because the two high schoolers, they had to get their pictures taken for their school IDs. But what I wanted to do was be able to give them the opportunity to share with you all what it's like coming from a homeschool setting. Is because all their lives they were homeschooled. For a brief time for pre-K. They did go to school, but that was so long ago they don't remember. And that was only for a real short period of time because we ended up moving, relocating districts and whatever, so we couldn't get them back in school. But nonetheless, this is their third full year in brick and mortar and face-to-face. And like I said, they have been doing homeschool. So I just wanted them to have the opportunity to share what their experiences were like, both homeschool and now that they are in brick and mortar. So we have Naomi in the back, who is the incoming 9th grader, freshman in high school. What's up, Naomi? What up? And then we have Josh. Make sure y'all check him out, Panthers Pride, Joshua Beckem on YouTube as well. Check out his channel. Make sure you all like, share, and subscribe to him. So he is going into 10th grade this year. So y'all just give me some feedback, or give the watchers, the viewers, some feedback on what y'all experiences were like, you know, in the homeschool setting and now transitioning into high school or brick and mortar.
So like for homeschool, I'm not gonna lie. See, homeschool, it was like an easy environment for me because I wasn't really paying attention because I could like switch tabs, play video games. So
he basically wasn't even doing what he was. Yeah. He was doing what we would say would be skipping if he was in brick and mortar. So that's how he was calling himself skipping with homeschool. Yeah, the easy route.
Then like we was like laying down on the computer, just like playing video games. It was
making my life difficult.
It was very relaxing, but I wouldn't really pay attention to homeschool.
So, what is that, your pro or your con for?
Nothing. That's not. But like,
there has to be pros to being homeschooled.
Yeah. I feel like for homeschool, the pros would be, because like get this assignment done and the due date is this, but while you're at home, you can easily work through getting the assignment done instead of being like at school. And then you spent all day walking around, having to pay attention, switches classes from class. And once you get home, then you're going to be all tired. And then you're not going to want to do the assignment. But if you're sitting up on the computer all day, you're not doing nothing. So it basically makes your job easier having to go.
You're not doing that, but you should have been doing something. You should have been doing your schoolwork. Look, they sitting up here telling on themselves now. But I guess when I was referring more to the pros and the cons of homeschool, I guess I was more so meaning, and I guess I'm looking at it from a different point from you all. Y'all looking at it more like fun and skipping and things like that. But my outlook of it, and this was our reasoning for wanting to homeschool you all, is we're able to now better control the things that you learn.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like when a lot of stuff that they teach you all, we'll just use the subject of science, for example. A lot of the stuff that they teach y'all when it comes to science, as the way that we believe according to scripture, a lot of that stuff we don't agree with. So with that being said, we can better control, like, okay, get it and learn it because you have to learn it because you need to make the grades. Yeah. However, don't take that as truth. Now, don't get me wrong, some of the stuff that is taught with science, it's true. It can align with what scripture says, but my thing is, if it doesn't align with scripture, then, we're not taking it as truth. So even with that, being able to mold and get your minds to understand what is and what isn't truth, even just molding you all as individuals, period, versus going to school and letting school form who you all are. Right. So we wanted to be able to get a hold to your minds and make you free thinkers, as we like to teach you all, versus letting school raise you, letting school frame your character and who you are. So that was like some of the biggest things for us. We were able to give y'all that understanding versus the school, because just think about, even y'all can attest to it, think about the difference between the way you all carry yourselves and the way that your minds is more mature than, sadly, the ones that y'all go to school with, So that's where I was coming from. I mean, even I mean, what do y'all think? The social environment, you know, between the pros and the cons with that. You know, y'all in school. So that's more so when I mean them, like, you know, with those pros and cons, not just academics, but.
I feel like also it all depends on how you are as a person, because, you know, if you've been in homeschool for so many years and like you're kind of just used to your own environment, which is being around siblings, if you have any, and your parents and stuff. So it's like going into school, a con for me, like I said, it all depends on the person, is having to deal with a huge crowd of people. And they can be really irritating. And it's too much mixed energies going on. It's like, you're ready to go home.
I remember our first day of school, like, we was like quiet. Like, we would just like, we wouldn't like leave each other, because we like, this environment is weird for us.
Yeah. That I can see that difference with the social environment. Y'all used to y'allselves and not everybody else, and it can be like a little overwhelming with all these people in y'all space, and y'all used to just y'all personal space. So I can understand, you know, that point. Everybody in y'all space, y'all used to y'all own personal space. I get that.
Yeah. So they would like ask questions like, "Are we like weird?" Then once you
weird.
No, because like I was just like so silent. Like I was just like looking, because I didn't know like how to like socialize myself. But they would ask me questions like, "Are you weird?" I'm like, "No, I just like being homeschooled." It's like once you tell them that, they were like, "Oh yeah."
It makes more sense.
Yeah, they consider people homeschool going into school weird as the weird kids, because they say they be quiet while some of them be overly doing too much. Whereas like
usually my friends understand like that quickly. Like once you tell me you homeschool, they're like, "Oh, that makes sense."
But the funny thing about it is, because y'all are quiet and reserved, they would look at you all as weird, rather than saying, "Am I the weird one because I got all this additional extra energy that I don't even know how to place or what to do with it?" But it's funny how, you know, that goes to show, when you don't fit into everybody's social norm, how they look at you as the weird one. Why I gotta be weird? You know what I'm saying? Why is it that your day-to-day ain't weird and I'm the normal one? And that's the downfall, you know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why too we chose that homeschooling, is because we wanted y'all to be sound and knowledgeable in who y'all are, and not be forced to have to fit into a crowd. So a behavior like that y'all were displaying, and then people looking at y'all like weird, "Oh, I don't want to be looked at like the weird one, so let me try and fit in." When no, you stay who you are, despite, you know, how others might perceive you. So that's reason why too we wanted to make sure that y'all stood solid in who y'all were. Yeah. So
remember, because first day at recess or whatever.
Recess. Here she go. I told her at middle school, high school, I do not want to hear that word, doggone recess. I hate it when y'all used to come. Yeah, they used to let us outside for recess. I'm like, they still using that word recess in middle school. But anyway, go ahead.
I remember, because I didn't know the people, so it's like I sat to myself like at a little chair underneath the tree, and then somebody came up to me and asked me if I'm okay. I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." She's like, "You acting like you in a Billie Eilish video, depressed."
What? That's the first time I heard about that. That's crazy. Yeah, but that's like I said, that was one of the biggest takeaways from having y'all homeschool, because we wanted to make sure y'all had y'all own individual identities, and then it wasn't based upon, you know, how the people were around y'all. But I can say that although I'm an advocate for homeschooling your children, if you can, some families, you know, they aren't allowed the opportunity, the ability to be able to do so. And most of the time, pretty much all of their lives, I've been a stay-at-home parent. And also, when I did decide to work, I was able to work from home. So I've been doing that for the past, I don't know what, about 4 years or so now. I've been able to work home and still be able to be a at-home parent. But not everybody has that. So when you do have that opportunity, I think that's an opportunity that you should always seize, is because it is golden to be able to form and teach your children at home, rather than the public schools being able to do it. Now, I don't say that the public schools is 100% wrong or 100% bad. It's because it did give them the opportunity to get out, be able to socialize, and see what the world was like. So they were able to apply everything that they had been learning at home. So at home, it was basically a training session, a training course. Just think about it, you know, when you start a new job, you go through all of this training, this orientation, all of this stuff, and you hearing what they're telling you, you taking it in, but it's not until you apply it and actually start working that the things start to make sense. Like, oh, okay, I get why X, Y, and Z. And that's, for me, that's the type of learner I am. I can sit there all day and be trained, but it's not until I actually have the hands-on where I'm like, okay, yeah, it makes sense. And so with everything that we have been teaching them over the years, people are going to be like this, the world is like that, you can't trust people with this, you know, look out for friends with that, and so on and so forth. And it wasn't until, and Naomi got a lot of experience with that so-called friend stuff, that they was able to apply and understand. So this is why they were saying what they were saying. Okay, now this makes sense, because like I said, and Naomi is still learning, you know, people got to prove themselves before you can call them friend. Joshua has had his experiences too with some, you know, different run-ins with boys trying him, you know, new kid on the block, they want to try you. You know what I'm saying? And he had to assert himself and show, you know, it is what it is. You're not about to play me. Just because I'm new don't mean I'm new. You know, I'm equipped. So we wanted to make sure that they had all of that and whatnot before they went into school. So any final thoughts or words, advice for those that has been homeschooled, in school, parents, you know, with home, you know, kids? Any?
You kind of said, and I really say what you want to say, because I also wanted to, which is basically what you said. Another pro to homeschool is like you're able to put down scenarios of like, what would you do if this happened or that happened. And then when you see other people actually put in actions the scenarios that y'all have us go through, the steps, they seem to mess up every time. They like to move off based off of how they feel in the moment. So they don't really think logically before they make their actions.
Josh? Good. All right. So yeah, that's the take from, look, I say the big three. One of them is missing. He's not my high schooler yet, but I wanted to address the two high schoolers. The big three, they like this. We 15, 14, and 13. Soon to be 16, 15, and 14. So, you know, they grew up super tight. And then I got a second set that's, you know, pretty stair-stepper as well. So, but this is just the input and the information that we have for the high schoolers. All right, y'all, so here we are with the other two. We got Josiah Jojo over here. That's our 8th grader. He'll be in the 8th grade this year in middle school. He also comes from the homeschool setting. And in the back, there's Naraya. She is the 6th grader. She will be entering brick-and-mortar for the first time. So her experience is not yet, excuse me, with the other three kids' experiences, because she hasn't had that experience yet. But she still has a lot to talk about when it comes to the homeschool setting. So again, you know, just like the other ones, I was saying, you know, them two, they have been homeschooled all their life. As a matter of fact, JoJo has never, prior to entering into brick and mortar in the middle school at 6th grade, he had never went to traditional schooling at all. Naraya did get a very short experience in pre-K as well. But funny thing is, I didn't even realize it until now. Both the older two and her, when they were in preschool, or pre-K, we ended up, or was it kindergarten? I don't know. I can't remember what it was. But she also wasn't able to finish out the school year as well, is because we actually relocated to a whole new city. And so relocating, it was, you know, kind of difficult getting her back into school. So she started off with K-12 as well as a homeschooled schooler. So my question for you all, just like for the bigger ones, what are the pros and the cons, or the good and the bad you all feel with homeschool? JoJo, what's your take on homeschool? What did it benefit? How do you feel that it benefited you, or maybe not, versus, you know, going out to brick and mortar, benefiting or not benefiting? Just, you know, tell me, us, everybody, you know, your experience.
I feel like homeschool is harder to pay attention to class, because it's kind of hard to explain. I feel like you could easily get out of class and into class, unlike brick and mortar, because like you're monetized around
monitored
around the building,
right,
in the schoolrooms.
Right.
But like homeschool, they really don't monetize you. Like monitor like you.
Yeah, I got you, because it's easy kind of like just to walk away from the computer and, you know, doze off, or like the other two talked about hopping on games and when they supposed to be learning and whatnot. But yeah, I understand that. Like I said, y'all, they made my life so difficult with homeschooling. I had to stay on top of their necks, and with it being so many of them, it's just like, come on, y'all, help me out, please do right. But we made it through. So what do you feel with now being in, well, not now being in middle school, because you started 6th grade and now you're entering into the 8th grade this school year. So what do you think about going to brick and mortar? What has that been like?
I feel like it's been better because like I actively do stuff instead of just sitting down on the computer. Like you easily doze off and stuff. And brick and mortar, they like push you to do activity like math, reading, and social study. I feel like it's easier doing that and then sit on a computer.
All right, so you feel like you need monitoring, and most kids do. I get it. I'm not even gonna really get on your head tough about it. It's because, I mean, that's what kids are. That's what kids do. When they feel that they can, you know, get away with something and somebody's not micromanaging everything that they do, you know, I ain't gonna tell y'all about me in school, but yeah, I let's just say I get it. I understand, you know, where y'all coming from on that. So what do you think, even you, Naraya, at any point, you know, you can hop in. What do y'all think as far as building your mentality up, you know, from homeschooling? What do you think that was like?
I feel like it makes you I don't know how to explain it. It makes you more not I don't know how to explain it.
It's hard,
like, you're more active with people in like brick and mortar than.
Well, let me be a little bit more clear. Who you are as a person. Do you think that you would be different if we just threw you off into school at kindergarten, or do you think it benefited you all better that we kept you at home and build up the knowledge of who you are versus letting the school mold and shape you?
I feel like it was better for us to be a homeschool first, then feel how it feels when you go in brick and mortar.
Okay. So we got the little, we always tease it, the bookworm in the back. I think you might need to come a little bit closer so that your view is a little bit clearer. Remember, you got your skirt on, girl. So you haven't been in brick and mortar in quite a while. I know that you spent a little bit of time in kindergarten before we had to pull you, but most of your time being spent in the homeschool setting. And we always tease her because she's the one out of all the kids that takes her education most seriously. She's the one that'll get, and I laugh is because I be like, man, I done took that grade and I done walked off and I'd have been so happy. She'll get a C or a B or something and be mad talking about I need to retest. It's because I need a higher grade. And I'm like, shoot, when I was in school, if I got a C, I was good. Y'all, I didn't like school. I hated school. That is a whole nother video. But what do you think? Like, how has homeschool, you feel, helped and prepared you now that you are so excitingly getting ready for brick and mortar for 6th grade?
I feel like homeschool was good. Teaching you how the world is gonna be soon, but you still it was easier but harder at the same time.
Okay.
Learning in school was a little hard because, like he said, learning online is a little harder, but it's easier because you don't really interact with that much people.
Okay, so your thing is I can do my work, do what I need to do, and I don't have to worry about You know, see, yeah, and that's what the other two were saying too. When they came into school, it was a little bit of a struggle because of the overwhelming amount of people that they were around. They were used to their own personal space and not having to deal with anybody except for you all. So you think that made it easier for you. You do your work, focus on your work, and you don't have to worry about, you know, people around you. So since you say that, Naraya, what do you think, how do you think you'll adjust to going into brick and mortar and then having to be all around all these people? Do you think it'll bring a pressure on you to get distracted? What do you think your focus will be like?
I feel like I would get a little distracted, but not as much, because still focus on your work a little. Not really talk to much people, and just keep just a little shut for now until you get back home.
All right, so that's the thing too. Y'all coming into a different environment. You have to learn this still does not change what I'm here for. I understand, you know, you're gonna socialize, you know, you're gonna meet new people, you're gonna, you know, kind of open up more, be more of a social butterfly in a sense, but never be distracted. Always keep your focus. My focus, keep in mind, is to come to school and get an education. Anything else is extra. Friends is extra. That stuff is a bonus. Sports is bonus. Excuse me, all that other stuff, those are bonuses. I come to get my education, and that's what comes first. So Naraya, with all of the stuff that you feel that you've been taught by us, your parents, going into brick and mortar, how do you think that will help you far as forming your way of thinking on how the world is and people and how you should deal? How do you think that helped prepare you to come into school versus the school molding you and showing you how you're supposed to be?
With y'all, it's better than to stay home, like he said, stay home, then come to school. Plus, seeing the experience they went through, that would make me more do what I'm supposed to do, what the big ones went to.
Okay. All right. Well, y'all heard it from the other two. Now, listen, let me tell y'all, this is just, I probably won't do much of this type of conversation with the other ones, but just so you know, this is just 4 of the 7 that is currently actively in school. We have one entering into kindergarten. Oh my gosh, she is a piece of work. She's entering into kindergarten homeschool. So now it's 3 that's homeschool, and then the other 4 now are in brick and mortar. And as the other ones get older, and we feel, because we actually said 6th grade is where we would begin to introduce them into the public or into the face-to-face school setting, but also it's going to depend on their level of maturity. If we feel like when they come to that grade level that they are not ready, they are not able to hold their own going into school, well, you know, it's going to wait, because going to brick and mortar is not more important than them being able to hold their own and understand how they should conduct themselves amongst people. And sometimes, you know, that experience, you're not going to get it, or of course you're not going to get it until you do it, but you're not going to understand how to handle yourself until you're in certain situations. But it's all going to be at discretion. We just going to monitor them all and see, and when they're ready, then, you know, we will allow them to go into brick and mortar. So we have these 2 now, middle school. JoJo is his last year, and this is Naraya's first year coming into middle school. So we got these 2 in middle school, and then we have the 2 high schoolers, and yeah, just off to a new adventure for her, and, you know, a reoccurring one for him. So I just know that their school year will be very blessed and very prosperous, is because they have a lot that's been placed down in the inside within them, understanding that they know their self-worth, that they know that to be free thinkers, not follow a crowd, stand out from the crowd, be the one that starts the trend, create the trend, and not hop on the trend. Just be set apart from everyone else, as scripture even tells us that we are a set apart people. But yeah, that's the 4 big ones that's in school, and that's our story and that's our journey. All right, y'all. So until next time, y'all be safe out there, and you all have a happy school year as well. All right, peace.
Peace.